we just want to thank you guys for tuning in to Shoes Off Talk, where sometimes we have things that go wrong, and sometimes it may be best to talk into the mic instead of away
That
from
would
the
be
mic.
a whole lot better.
Anyway, it was important for us to play a tribute to Angie Stone. She had brought us so many hits. For those of you that don't know, yesterday she passed in a tragic accident. Um, and we send prayers and condolences to the families, friends, and also her millions of fans. She has blessed us with so many great hits. Um, um, and it's a tragic loss. God gained another angel with the voice of an angel, but uh, we shall continue. Um, Floyd, Floyd talking about me and my mic over there, and he over there, he got his mic in pieces. I have no idea what he's doing over there.
No, it just came off.
Oh, it just came off by itself. See, that's what he get for poking fun at me because I didn't pull the mic over to talk. But anyway, we gonna carry this thing on and give him an opportunity to switch out the mic over there. But we appreciate you guys tuning in to another episode of Shoes Off Talk. We actually have, as we always do, I can't make it seem like we don't always have interesting topics. But this one has been in headlines and continue to be discussed more and more, especially as people's eyes are open to not only the healthcare industry but just health in general. And so the topic of the first discussion is, what is it, Floyd?
Big Pharma.
I did that. I know what it is, but I did that because he don't have his mic, and he poked fun at me.
Yeah, Big Pharma and the health hustle.
Are we being healthy or are we being hustled? That is the question. Are they getting us more healthy or are we being hustled? And I'd have to say, do you want this mic over here?
No, that's not good.
Okay. And I have to say, from my experience, a lot of people don't know, but a lot of people do know. I own a group fitness and boot camp business and have been a trainer for a number of years. So I'm very familiar with the health and fitness industry and the millions of turns and twists we've endured from being told of what to eat and what not to eat. Now we are being told that the best thing to do is intermittent fasting. So it seems to be that we're all over the place trying to figure out what the best way to take care of our health is. It's crazy because I was looking at, a lot of you guys know that I just came back probably about a week ago from Thailand, and I'm in love with that place for multiple reasons, and for my guys, not the reasons that you think. Other than the crazy level of peace that you have because of the spirituality that exists there, also the health benefits. I myself have a number of food allergies, almost deathly allergic to a lot of the food that we have, which is understandable because of the type of ingredients that are in our foods. And so just off of the health benefits alone, that is reason enough to relocate. But the peace and spirituality that I was able to garner and obtain from being there is on a whole nother level. And I thought maybe I had experienced it before in my life, but I can honestly say the level of peace that I had there, I don't think I've ever experienced. And so that is, one of the added benefits. But We're talking about our health, and are they really trying to help us, or are they trying to hustle us?
You know what? I really do feel like they're hustling.
What makes you say that?
Well, because one thing is like they they're worth 1.5 trillion dollars.
What? Who is?
Big Pharma.
Yeah, yeah,
1.5 trillion.
yeah,
Over
yeah,
1.5 trillion.
yeah. I'm gonna give you and our listeners some interesting facts um, about our so-called regulatory um, department that's supposed to be regulating our food, which is the FDA. A lot of people think that when foods have the disclosure of FDA approved, that they can put their trust in it. And in all actuality, the FDA basically kind of sells that sticker of approval to the manufacturers. So the ones that actually determine whether or not food is healthy is the actual manufacturers. So if I'm producing food and I am trying to sell it at an enormous rate,
Mm-hmm.
um, I am not going to say my own food is unhealthy.
Right, right, right.
So what happens is I don't hear anything in this one. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Um, I'm not going to say my own food isn't healthy,
Mm-hmm.
but it's super alarming that the department that was created to oversee um, the nutritional value and the health of our food, they're actually barterers, and they loan that FDA, not really loaning, but they sell their FDA sticker,
Mm-hmm.
which gives us as Americans peace of mind that it's gone through a number of checks and balances before it hits the store and goes on our table, when actuality it's not. And like I said, the FDA basically leaves it up to the manufacturer of that food item to determine whether or not it is healthy or not. And so that was alarming to me. The other thing that um, I tell people this is that there are over 160 countries that have not just disallowed food from America, they've banned it, and it's illegal. And when you put the word illegal in front of something, that means that if it is found, there is consequences. Um, and so, for the life of me, I can't understand at one point do we band together and put our foot on the necks of these manufacturers of these deadly foods and say no more. Um, and it's the leading cause for childhood obesity. We look at alarming rates of high blood pressure, um, high cholesterol, you name it. The list goes on and on and on. And we're trying to figure out, people are dieting, killing themselves in the gym, trying to, either get their weight under control or get their health issues under control. When in all actuality, it's not what happens when they're in the gym or any of the fitness aspects of it. It's actually what they're putting in their body. And the craziest thing is that the stuff that's probably the most contaminated is the food that they say is the healthiest.
Well, you gotta look at it. It's like, I mean, it goes to the point that they don't even uh, hide the fact that, oh, we're charging these people all this money and everything, and but don't they supposed to be helping?
Who?
Big Pharma, don't they supposed to be helping us?
No, they have no obligation to help us. They have an obligation to put more and more money in their
Yeah,
pockets.
they're more profit.
Yeah,
It's like,
but
okay,
their tagline is they give us this false sense of security that they are helping us. But I think by now, pretty much everybody, unless you've been sleeping under a rock, you understand the goal of big pharma, and by no means is helping us a part of anything that they do at all. What sucks is what is our other options? What how do we eat? People say, "Oh, you have to grow your own food," and but this is the thing is like you even have to be careful of that because even the soil
Right.
is contaminated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's just like you just have to be mindful and like being healthy and eating healthy becomes a second job or a third job to a lot of people that already have second jobs. Um, and so it just gets to the point. I know with me, since I've been back, like when I was gone, I actually lost 11 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Dropped like 3% of my body fat. And it wasn't anything that I was really doing that I don't do here. I was working out 5 or 6 days a week when I was gone. I was eating more. Um, I eat once, maybe twice on a good day here.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to eat anything before 11 o'clock to just give my body a chance to recover from what I had eaten the night before, which is basically intermittent fasting.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of makes sense to me. Not promoting it because I really feel like everybody's body is different
Right.
and it
Correct. Mm-hmm.
reacts to things differently. So for me, the intermittent fasting works for me because it makes sense, and I've seen the results. But yeah, when I was gone, I ate 3 times a day, sometimes even 4 times a day, and like I said, leaned out, lost 11 pounds, and it wasn't anything crazy that I was doing. It was just the fact that I was exposed to real untampered with food.
But see, and that's the thing too. It's like out here in this place, you have the food here is supposed to be nutritious. Just I'm gonna go back to the part when you said you got to have, 2 or 3 jobs and all that, right? You do have to have 2 or 3 jobs just to pay for good food.
No, I mean I was
No, I'm
saying
just, I'm
I
just
was
saying.
saying that
I
your the you actually have to take on
hmm
eating healthy
Right,
as a second and third job because
exactly.
it's that tedious.
But see, and that's what I'm saying is like you literally have to take on a second or third job just to
Yeah,
pay for
yeah,
that
you do,
food that's healthier
you
for
do,
you. You know,
you do.
because why they promote the food that's not healthy and they charge you way cheaper for that. That's going to kill you compared to the healthier food, which is more expensive. That you got to take out another job or a loan just to pay for that. So,
Yeah, it's. I was looking up, um, and literally 70 to 80% of our food is illegal in other countries, just in general. But there are some food items that are severely illegal because of the ingredients that and as I'm looking at this stuff is like we eat this stuff on a regular basis. Like
mhm.
one of the things are is the what is it the cherries, those cherries that they put in drinks
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
all,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
those cherries are one of the number one banned foods. Ritz crackers are
Hmm.
a second. Farm raised salmon, U.S. milk. Um, oh, this is an interesting fact about chicken um, and beef.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in Europe, just speaking about Europe alone, the EU, American chicken and American beef is not allowed. It's banned because of the hormones
Mm-hmm.
and all of the things that's
Yeah.
used and treated in in the beef and chicken.
I get that. Yeah.
One of the items which was popular for us when growing up was Fruit Loops.
Oh yeah, Fruit Loops. Yeah.
Oh my God, according to them,
Frosted
one of the
Flakes.
worst
Yeah.
foods, one of the worst foods ever.
There's a lot of sugar.
Conventional corn,
Yeah.
corn is one of the worst things for your digestive system. But when you look at it and you look at any ingredients, corn is in everything. It's absolutely in everything, and it's one of the worst. It corn corn really tears up your digestive system. It's the almost the hardest thing to pass through your body. It's corn, and we eat it in a raw state, whether it's boiled on corn on a cob, whether it's in you know uh, food items. Uh, I can't tell you the last time I've eaten corn. I'm pretty sure I've had items in it that had corn byproduct in it, but I pretty much try to stay away from that. But what do you tell people? What do you tell people that are currently fighting obesity? Um, what does bother me though is when I see these parents feeding their kids McDonald's and all of these different things. Oh, Twinkies and Hostess are another thing they actually did a test that Twinkies and Hostess, um, they are one of the most flammable food products there is.
See, but the thing is, okay, when we're talking about the food, right? The kids being obese, that's not going to be their fault.
No,
Because
it's their parents' fault.
But then at the same time, now since they cut the budget for the nutritious program, which is going to eliminate them from eating good food, now they got to eat whatever is presented.
Well, the thing about it is, as a parent, you should never put the responsibility of either raising your kids, teaching your kids, or feeding your kids the correct things. Um, if nothing else, send your kids to school with a healthy meal. Um, it's funny because a couple years ago, I went back to Houston to visit my youngest son, and I take them to Lifetime Fitness, and I'm in the Life Cafe, and I tell my son and the kids, I was like, hey, get whatever you want. And my middle granddaughter goes and buys a couple bags of seaweed chips. And I'm like, is this a joke?
I just heard about those.
And my son said, no, Dad, she eats seaweed chips like they're going out of style. Like she is like healthy eater.
It tastes like seaweed grass.
Like I had some healthy chips, and when I was offering her stuff, she kind of made me feel bad about my food choices I made. But you have to instill this in your kids at an early age.
Right.
And I know sometimes our lives, get really, really busy. And a lot of times for a parent, the easiest way is to make a stop at one of the local fast food restaurants and throw a bag in the back seat and let the kids eat. But you got to understand the building blocks that you're setting up by doing that is not good, because kids will take those eating habits into their early adulthood. Because when you think about it, we talk about it all the time. The foods that we were raised on, we didn't have these unhealthy foods, but those food choices make lasting impressions as you get older.
Yeah.
And so it's important as parents that we monitor the foods that our kids eat, and even if you have to sit down with them and break down, why it's not healthy to eat, because it's just crazy when I mention high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and all these different things, diabetes. I'm not just talking about adults. This stuff is really prevalent now in kids
Right.
because of the foods that they're eating. And yeah, it costs a lot to have um, healthy food items and healthy food choices in schools, but you understand that the times that we living in now, we have people that's running this country that don't care about
Yeah.
healthy food items for kids.
Well, because it's more about profit. It's more about,
Oh yeah,
it's more about quantity than quality.
yeah,
So I mean, whatever I can get more of, then I'm gonna do it that way.
yeah. And I say this all the time. I can't understand why we have so much loyalty to a country that's killing us
Hmm.
with our foods and everything. I looked at something the other day and I posted it, and it was really shocking to a lot of people. Um, I showed the obesity rates between um, nationalities, and one of the things that, let me see if I could pull it up. One of the things it was, where is it at? Where is it at? Oh, here it is. Um, it's the obesity rate by race. And so
Okay.
for in men, Hispanics have in the U.S. This is just the U.S. Um, there's a 45% obesity rate amongst Hispanics. 45% of the population of Hispanics in America are obese.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the second is white men. White men have a 43% obesity rate in the US. And third is black men. We're at 40%.
Oh wow.
40% of black men are obese. Yeah, that's crazy. But then when you talk about Asian countries,
Oh wow.
Japan is, I think, number one as far as having the lowest
Mm-hmm.
obesity percentage amongst its nationality, amongst its race,
Right.
and they're at 4%.
Yeah, I can see that.
As a whole, when you include all Asian countries, um, they're as a totality they're at 18%,
Hmm.
which is crazy low.
All Asian countries.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now, women, 58% of black women are obese.
Wow.
And I'm gonna give you a disclaimer at the
That's
end.
just they're just
I'm gonna give you a disclaimer at
they're
the end
just
of
big
this.
boned.
I'm gonna give you a disclaimer at this end of this, and this is the reason why we have to really pay attention when we go online and we Google this stuff. I'm gonna give you a disclaimer.
Mm-hmm.
Second is Hispanic women. 46% of all Hispanic women in America are considered obese, and in third place, white women come in at 40%, and Asian women come in even lower than Asian men. They come in at 15%.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the reason why I say, what's up, E? Mr. Muhammad, I appreciate you guys tuning in. This is the reason why I say you have to be careful when you go Googling stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like the FDA, Google is controlled by a group of people that their sole mission is to drive product sales and to drive profit. And so when you Google stuff like this, you got to understand a lot of this stuff is propaganda. It doesn't take into consideration body type, um, and in actuality, who made this determination of what is considered to be obese?
Hmm.
Because I'm gonna tell you, I took a, and this is the reason why you can't go by when you go to the gym and you're doing these BMI testing and all of that.
Yeah.
You got to be careful of that because even at the gym, their sole purpose is to get you to spend money for training. And one of the things that they do is they tell you that you are obese, or that you could have health issues, or
They scare you
early
to.
onset of whatever.
Right.
And so now you're fearful because they're supposed to be the subject matter experts when it comes to fitness. So now you're spending hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars for
Yeah.
these trainings when they're not taking in consideration the things that affect those numbers. And a lot of times those numbers are skewed. They're tampered with, you know. And so how they come up with that, they do your age, your height, um, body fat content, and all this other stuff, which, like, I took that uh, that test, and it showed I was obese. I took it about a year ago, and it said that I was obese, because I'm 6'2", almost 6'3", and I was at the time I was at 254, but um, I only have a body fat content of, I think it was, at the time it was 19%,
Wow.
which is, and then you take into consideration my age. I'm 55 years old. Um, you take into consideration of that, and then a lot of times they don't take in, like, your muscle to fat content. Like, you can get a detailed one, um, but I say that to say that you can't just Google stuff and think that it's Bible. Um, it is alarming to see this obesity percentages by race. We do have an obesity problem in America. A lot of it is contributed to bad eating, but the other half of that is, no matter what you eat, is bad because of the products that's put in the food.
But then we always say, okay, like you said, we obese because of what we eat. We obese because of what they put in the food. Yes, that's true. But then what do we do about it? We don't really do anything. We
No.
don't go out. We don't what I mean by go out, we don't go out and work out. We don't go out and eat moderation. We don't do all that stuff. Only thing we do is just we get our food, we eat, and we go about our business. And what I mean by going about our business is like we eat, we get into bed, we watch TV. That's that.
Well, we've been programmed to think that there's other things that's more important than our health, our job, material possessions, um, and all these other things. But I don't understand why it doesn't make sense to everybody that your job and everything else other than your health, if your health fades, then your job doesn't really matter.
No, they just move on to
so
the
so
next.
so you need to take care of the one thing that allows you to do all of those other things, and it's your body. And it's a conscious thing that you know and I can't sit here and because it's I wouldn't say it's easy for me, because as I've gotten older, it's harder for me to go to the gym and work. Like, I like doing it, but am I as passionate about it as I was when I was younger? With me, I know there's a lot of factors that come in. I've had 15 major surgeries. I've had close to 40 broken bones. Not to mention the injuries that I've had that didn't require surgery. And so for me, just dealing with pain on a daily basis since the age of 21, that is my struggle. Sometimes it's hard for me to go up and down stairs, on a bad day. So I get it, but we can't have it as an excuse, because the alternative, I know for me, because of my injuries, if I stop working out, if I stop being active, I'm literally in a wheelchair. I'm
Yeah.
literally in a
Yeah.
wheelchair. And then the next step for me is death.
Mm.
because once you stop being active, then everything,
Start to shut
the
down.
onset of every
Yeah.
health issue comes up, because now you're not being active, so you're not being conscious of the food you eat. So now you're going for more of convenience than it is trying to eat healthy. And that's the one thing that they've been on spot with, is making the bad stuff the most accessible.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, it's an act of Congress to go in somewhere and say, "Hey, do you have, vegan cheese or some healthy food items?" And literally, like, people in these restaurants will look at you like you crazy. Like,
No,
no,
they'll be
who
like,
who carries vegan
right?
cheese?
No,
No.
they'll say, oh, you know what? We do have some in the back, and then so they'll go put their food, put some regular cheese on there, melt it
No,
up, and
I
you know,
yeah, that it's challenging. The one thing that I tell people is just monitor your consumption.
right, right,
Um, it's hard to get around it, and like I said, it becomes a job. So the easiest thing to do is just monitor your consumption. You know that, if you like a specific food item, just don't gorge yourself in it. Don't overeat. Don't make it a daily routine of eating it.
hmm
Um, yeah, that's what I've had to do.
You know, I've always put the point of saying if you're going to eat whatever you want to eat, okay, fine, but at the same time, do something active.
Yeah,
You know, just I don't care if you just walk. I don't care if you just go around and
that's
just
really all
you
it
know
is, man. It's
just
just
doing
30
something.
minutes to 45 minutes a day. Just do something that gets your heart rate up. I don't care if it's yoga. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care if it's just getting outside, walking around your neighborhood. Do something at least twice a day, to where you kind of combat that. I tell people, I get people that give me compliments. I was like, Tim, this, and I'm like, yeah. I said, at this point in my life, it's really just about maintaining what I have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to lose no weight. I'm not trying to get ripped up. Not trying to do any of that.
Right, 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 right,
I'm
right,
just
right.
trying to maintain
Mm-hmm.
what I have. If I can maintain what I have, I'm good.
Yeah.
Because the little stuff that comes along with that, then I can concentrate more on that. I've never in my life racked my brain on trying to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
Never. I've always watched what I eat. I can't tell you the last time I've had fast food. Well, Raising Canes. I
Ooh.
eat that maybe.
Mm.
I eat that 2 or 3 times a month.
Oh my gosh.
That is really the extent of my
Yeah.
fast food eating.
Raising Cane's.
Um,
I haven't had that yet, but I'm gonna get it.
you haven't had it yet?
No, I've had it. I haven't had it in a while.
Oh,
But
oh
yeah.
yeah. It's kind of it's my go-to, because I've been so busy and I've been traveling a lot, and I know somebody's gonna send me something telling me how bad
Yeah.
Raising
Oh
Cane
yeah,
is.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and I get it, but like I said, at this point, with the amount of unhealthy food that's out there,
Hey,
you literally have to choose the lesser of the
you
evils.
do.
And for me, Raising Canes
Mm-hmm.
is the lesser of evils for me.
Uh-huh.
Um, and when I do eat it, that does mean that it's some extra time in the gym, some extra
Mm-hmm.
steps. But we have to start being more health conscious, because it carries over into our children, and you kind of want to build that and make that kind of generational. Um, because I know a lot of times when people talk about health and how people look,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times the conversation comes up, "Hey, my mom is in shape, or her mom was in shape, so and we have a tendency to think that everything is genetics, when sometimes it is, but a lot of times it's like you don't see the work that goes on behind closed doors.
Right.
And so, yeah, you get to a certain age where you look amazing, and you think that you can go through life without working out. Okay, I got abs and I ain't did not one ab. But you got to understand, Father Time is undefeated,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's gonna get to a point to where your metabolism starts slowing down,
Mhm.
and if you haven't trained yourself to be active, it's hard at a later age to try to get back on track. It's even tough when you've been doing it all your life and you stop doing it for a while to get back on track. The hardest part about that is mentally you know what to do, and mentally you're convicted because you know what to do,
Right.
and
Right.
you're convicted because you know how you used to look,
Mm-hmm.
but you have let yourself go. Now, okay, I know what I got to do, but the toughest part is actually doing it.
You know, we get in this mindset of depression without being depressed, but it's like of a depression of working out, a
Mm-hmm.
depression of eating right. Because we, like you said, we know what to do, but we just it's like it's hard for us to get caught to that point of doing it.
Yeah, and what also makes it difficult as well, because anytime you open your phone, anytime you turn on your TV, there's some lose weight quick
Oh
scheme.
yeah, most
um,
definitely. Yeah.
all of these people that are on Ozempic has some of the worst side effects. Yeah, you lose a ton of weight, but it has a lot of horrible side effects. um, and then you get caught up in buying these products, and then there's so many different companies that are making these products, and they're mocking maybe the original maker of it, and adding like a different ingredient or two in it. um, and I'm not saying that it's not okay to get some help
Right.
to get you started,
Mm-hmm.
but it's tough in a lot of ways, because once you start seeing the weight loss, it's hard to stop doing those products, because you're like, okay, I got to this, let me do it for 2 or 3 more weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Then it turns into months, and now you've been doing it for years, and you don't understand on the inside how much you're tearing your body down, whether it's you're more prone to get sick,
Mm-hmm.
or you just started noticing health issues that you never had. And honestly, man, I see so many people abusing Ozempic to the point to where they don't look healthy. um I say this, there's nothing wrong with a lot of stuff that you do, as long as you do it in moderation, but it's hard when you only have to spend an hour in a gym, but you can take Ozempic and lose the weight.
Mm.
Like, what is what's the give and take of it? Yeah, I'm losing weight. Maybe I need to slow down on this and increase the amount of time in a gym. That's not convenient. That's not convenient. It's more convenient to keep going 1 hour a week in the gym, and just maybe increase my Ozempic by a little bit. And it's not just Ozempic. I see this Newell is they are blasting social media with these apple cider vinegar gummies, and
Oh,
they're
okay.
showing these crazy
Yeah.
results, and people are flocking to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And they understand the American Western mindset is we always want to try to find the easy route.
Mm-hmm.
We want to
Yep.
try to find the easy route, and that's why a lot of these advertising appeal to the way that we think, is because we're always trying to find the easy route.
Because you gotta look at it. Even those pills. Now, you take the vinegar, apple cider vinegar pills, right?
Uh,
You take those. Now, let's just say they do work. Okay, they work fantastically. But the thing is though, don't you know that even though they're working for you, you're still messing up your body by what they have in them.
yeah,
The ingredients is just like with food. It's like, okay, yeah, you can go get you a burger, but what do they have in that burger?
yeah. Well, a lot of people live by the risk reward factor.
Mm.
I think one of the when you think about risk reward to a lot of the in the football arena, you think about what's the Patriots? Um, coach. He's no longer there.
Belichick.
Belichick. When it came to the deflate gate,
Okay.
when they got caught with those balls that were deflated,
Yeah.
he basically said the reward outweighed the risk. And that is kind of like our Western mindset, is that as long as the reward outweighs the risk, but this is the thing, is who determines how great the risk is?
Mm.
Because everybody's idea of what the risk factor is going to be different.
Right.
If I've been obese all my life and I take Ozempic and I'm at my weight that I've never been, but then I find out it's not saying, and I'm not saying this, but I find out it's cancer causing, or it leads to some kind of health issues.
Mm-hmm.
For that person that lost 80 pounds, you're like, okay, is the risk of whatever these health issues is this bigger than the reward of me losing this 60 to 80 pounds? And for a lot of people, they're going to say no. They're going to say the reward of me losing weight is greater than the risk of the additional health issues that I'm creating, because in their mind, and this is what we do, we rationalize.
Oh yeah.
We rationalize.
Oh, yeah.
We will say,
that's all it is.
We will say, okay, if I don't lose the weight,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of health issues am I gonna have if I don't lose the weight?
Right.
I'm gonna have all these crazy health issues.
Mm-hmm.
So the risk for me out, the risk is lower than what the reward will be. And so the thing about anything that you do is if you're going to do something, and it's hard, it's like drugs, it's hard to do something and see immediate reward from it, and then either tailor it off or stop doing it, and then say, because the strong mindset would say, let me do this to get me going, to jumpstart where I want to go.
Right.
And then once I jumpstart, once I lose my first 5 pounds or 6 pounds or 10 pounds, then I'll get off of it, and then I'll do the rest, I'll just get on the grind and go to the gym and walk and exercise. But we're in Western civilization.
But don't you feel, well, I know I think about when you were talking about understanding fear, that there's the different types of fears that people go through.
You're jumping into our next segment.
Oh.
Which we're actually going to use that to segue into our next segment. Our next segment is understanding your fears. So
Right.
Finish what you were saying.
So with that, when you have the different parts of the fear that intakes, is like, okay, now if I'm eating this food that is not good for me, but then you have the fear of, okay, if I don't eat this food, but I can't afford this food that's better, that's good for me. So what do I do?
Mhm.
Do I fear like I'm not gonna be able to eat? It's like, whoa, I don't know what to do.
And that's why I wanted to do this segment of understanding your fears. Is if you can understand where your fear comes from, it helps you to overcome your fears. When you talk about your fear, of losing weight, what is your fear of not losing weight? The health issues that come with not losing weight. How do I get over that fear? And a lot of people's answers would be to probably take the easiest route. If there's an easier route that's available, then they're going to take that, because they're not really understanding their fear in totality, because really and truly, you should have another fear, taking the easy route. The fear is, yeah, I may lose weight, but what am I taking these products? What kind of additional health problems am I creating for myself?
But don't you know that even with fear itself, just fear itself, can get you to a point that you're like you're mentally unstable.
Yeah, your fear becomes your fear. Your fear at its greatest height is mental, because if when you think about it, it's like, and this falls perfectly in line with my brand failure. Um, the hardest part to overcome when it comes to fear is the mental aspect of it,
Right.
because physically you are capable of doing crazy things, but if your mind does not tell your body that you can do it, then your body is going to quit, but your mind is going to quit long before your body does.
Exactly.
And so that's where understanding your fears is so important. And I listed some things. Um, I know a lot of people that's scared of flying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what is your fear of flying? What would you think the fear of flying would be? Why are people scared of flying?
Plane to fall out the sky.
Okay. Now, if you understood that you have a better chance of getting into an automobile accident and killing yourself
Right.
than you do than getting on a plane, if I ingrain that into you, is it really the crash, or are you afraid of heights?
Maybe both. So
That's that, and I say that because that is the reason why I say understanding your fears is so important,
right.
because it helps you overcome. Okay, what am I really afraid of?
Mm-hmm.
Am I afraid of the plane falling out of the sky, knowing that I have a better chance of getting into a head-on collision or a car accident and killing myself? Like, the percentages are crazy different between the two. Maybe not so much lately.
Oh man.
But the percentages chances are so different. You really have a really great chance of dying in a car accident,
Yeah, you do.
than you would a plane accident.
Yeah.
And so, knowing that, I think the real fear is the control. Would you feel more comfortable if you were flying the plane?
Me, I no.
No, but I'm saying, like, if you knew how to fly.
If I had the control of the plane, and if I knew how to fly, yes, yeah, I can say that.
That is really kind of the basis of all of our fear, is the control aspect. When you look at anything in life, so business. So why are people so afraid to walk away from a 9 to 5 and start their own business?
The consistency, the not knowing, the fear of having that mindset of not knowing if you're gonna eat, if you're gonna be able to pay your rent, if you're gonna be able to pay your mortgage, if you're gonna be able to pay your car bills, any type of bills. If you're gonna be able to help this person out, whoever you've been helping out.
So basically, your fear of failure.
Right. So, and that's one of those risk takers that when it comes to fear, I always go back to this. It always comes to me how God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love and a sound mind. So with that, you would not have that. I know it's easier said than done, but you would not have that approach of not that timid and not that hesitation of not doing something. You just go and do it. But as I said, everybody's different when it comes to what they can handle.
One of the biggest things that feeds fear is our inability to overcome really the fear of change.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's one. That's a big one.
That is really kind of like the baseline of all of this, is like, a lot of us have been working a 9 to 5 for years. We're used to getting a paycheck uh, every 2 weeks or bi-weekly or monthly or however long you get paid. And it is that fear of, if I go out and start my own business, what does that look like now? And that is the biggest fear of people, is the fear of not knowing.
You don't know if people are going to actually like it. You don't know if you're going to get the actual numbers that you need to even survive.
But okay, we can and I think the way society has been going, I think more and more people are starting to feel more and more comfortable with going out on their own. And the reason being is they're starting to realize that my 9 to 5 isn't even guaranteed.
No, it's not. It's not, especially now. How,
Yeah,
especially,
and it's been an ongoing cycle for a while, but we just as and it's a mentality that we in Western civilization in America, that we have been programmed. We've been programmed. You go to school, get an education, work a 9 to 5, get a family,
white picket
get the
fence.
nice house,
Yep.
get the cars,
Yep.
get the savings account, and you made it.
Yep. You're doing it.
But what we fail to realize is that not everybody's idea of success is the same. If you measure your success and you quantify it by material possessions, you will never achieve the success that you're due.
Right.
Now, by society standards, we're successful. But what I tell people to realize is, like, some of the wealthiest people in the world have committed suicide.
Right. Yeah.
Bill, his last time here, he talked about and this was a few years ago now, one of the top film directors in Hollywood wrote his family a note, went to the highest bridge in LA and just jumped off. So if money, cars, houses, and the abundance of all of that is a measurable of success, why are so many people battling depression? Why are so many people miserable that have all of those things?
I'm gonna tell you, I was able to meet this young man. He's a homeless,
Uh-huh.
and basically when I had stopped and literally start talking with him and everything, he actually was a millionaire 2 times over.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time he put that on himself, he got into the whole high life. He got into the whole, spending money and drugs and all that stuff. And just lost everything. And then he said he went back and did it again. Went back, got to the top again, and everything. And then this time it was on the people, his CPAs, his taking money and all that, family and all that.
Yeah.
So pretty much this money was gone. He said,
Well, in all actuality, not to cut you off, but in actuality, and I say this all the time, everything we do is a direct reflection of decisions that we make, whether
Right.
good or bad.
Uh-huh.
So it was his fault again,
Right.
but it just looked different. It was packaged different. Go ahead.
Right. And the thing about it, and what he said, I said you could always make it a third time, but then now you already know what your mistake was the first time and the second time. He said no. He said, right now I'm the happiest that I ever been. I will not do that again, because all that did was just bring me sadness and frustration, and did not. Basically, he felt like he was living for them,
Mm-hmm.
and he said right now he's living for him.
The thing about success, if you measure it in material possessions, it's a goalpost, and it's forever moving. Right now, we see the goalpost moving as we speak, with the economy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the economy has a lot of people enslaved that was really considered to be, um, I wouldn't say wealthy, but well off, like well off. The economy changed. Now the goalpost is moved. So now it's like people that made good money are finding themselves having to scramble and do other things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because the measure of success isn't really by the amount of stuff you have. It's about the quality of your life. And for me, um, it it has never been a measurable measurement of mine. And I'm human though. I like having nice things. I mean, I'm a miser to the point to where I have to have a discount. And to me, 20%,
Come on
10%
now.
ain't a discount. If
Right.
it ain't 40% or more, it's.
Hey.
But the mindset that we have, and that's why I was saying understanding your fear. You know, there's a lot of people that don't achieve because they fear success.
Yeah.
People don't understand that failure is one thing,
Mm-hmm.
but when you get to the point to where you reach success by society's standard, that is a scary thing.
Oh yeah.
We sit in the comfy confines of our chairs at home or wherever our comfy confines are, and we sit there and we look on social media, we look on TV, and we judge people, these athletes that have money. But really and truly, unless you've ever had money, unless you've ever had that fame, you have no idea of how difficult of a life that is.
Mm-hmm.
One of the main things is trying to differentiate of who is really in my corner or who's befriending me because of who I am and not because of what I have. That is one.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you have all of this money gives you access to things that you probably have never had access to before in your life.
Yeah.
So now you got to make conscious decisions about, okay, what's good for me, what's not good for me, what should I invest my money in, what I shouldn't invest in, who do I put in charge of my money? Do I stay in charge of my own money knowing that I have this job that I have to do? Now I have to keep track of my money. Do I put my family in charge of it? Which we know sometimes family could be the worst.
And that's a big fear right there.
And so, and that's why I said we're sitting here judging these people that are making insubordinate amounts of money, and we're saying, oh, you shouldn't be doing this and this and that and this and that. You also have to always consider the human factor.
Mm-hmm.
The human factor is we are going to make mistakes. We're going to do things that people aren't going to be in agreement with.
Right.
And for you to understand that means that you had to have been in those people's positions before to really understand.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of these guys, these athletes, the people that we root on, a lot of them wasn't raised with money.
No.
And so now it seems like overnight they've been given 200 million, 50 million, 100 million dollars. Now you're asking them to do the right thing with it.
Right.
When in actuality, a lot of us have a 9 to 5 and we can't figure out the right thing to do with our paychecks.
That's true.
And so I think we put a lot of pressure on people not understanding the position and what that looks like. The other thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to fears is relationships. So you got a lot of people, and I know there's some people that know me that say, I'm in fear of being in a relationship. I'm not in fear of being in a relationship. I am in fear of, I know what it takes to be in a successful relationship, even though I haven't had one.
Mm-hmm.
But I know what that looks like from a person to a person of how to treat someone.
Right.
You understand how to treat somebody. That's what leads to a successful relationship. It's not the fact that you've been successful in a relationship. It's a matter of how you treat somebody. So what is the fear as we get older of either being in a relationship or the fear of feeling that we need to be in a relationship as we get older?
The fear of that, a fear of a relationship is not we, but some people fear that them not being in a relationship, they'll be lonely and have no one by their side. The ones that do have people fear that if they don't last, then they have to go back out and get somebody else.
Okay. So I'm going to address the first one, the fear of being alone. My simple response to that is you can be alone within a relationship.
Right.
And I know exactly what that feels like.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So being alone should not be a factor where you feel like you need to be in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
If you fear being alone, there's more of a deep rooted issue there. And it could be codependency.
Okay.
And so, what I would say the remedy of that is take time out to love yourself. Because I see it on social media. I see people jumping from relationship to relationship. It seems like every week they're posting about a guy or a girl they with that they found their person and this and that and this and that. And then the next week you see that they remove pictures, they're by themselves and this and that. And then 3 weeks later they done met somebody else.
Mm.
And I'm not judging by any means. I'm not
Right,
judging.
right.
What I'm saying is, and if I could give a message to people, is take time out to love yourself. Because when you get to a point in your life where you love you more than you love anything else, that's when your spider senses go up and you understand that I'm not going to allow myself to go through the things that I've let myself either go through in the past or that I see other people going through because I love me too much.
Right.
And that's where I am at. That's where I've always been, is that I can tell you daily that I love you, but I will never, ever, 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 ever love you more than I love me.
Right.
And so I think that's important, is that instead of us feeling like that we need to be in a relationship, I think we need to understand that we need to have that relationship with ourselves. Yeah. Solitude is an amazing thing, but it's also scary.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you're alone, you hear all of the white noise. You cannot hide when you're alone. You have to face a lot of your demons when you're alone.
Oh, man.
And the good ones take accountability of who they are. And then the better ones use that accountability to move forward with loving themselves. Okay. Because it is impossible. It's impossible to love someone if you can't love yourself.
That's right.
And I will say this, and we're going to end. It is nobody else's responsibility to love you. There's nobody else's responsibility to make you happy.
Right.
That is a self thing. And if you can't love yourself, if you can't make yourself happy, then you may find things that look like love. You may find things that look like happiness. And that's what we do. We will go out and find things. We will buy things. And we think that makes us happy. Or we'll associate ourselves with people, places, and things and think that that's love. But love is me being happy with who I am in a room full of nothing.
Because that love that you have for yourself is going to trigger to the point that it's going to go off to the other person.
Bro, that's that energy that when you're around certain people, it makes you look at it. It makes you find them because you're like, dang, they got an energy about them. And that energy is they love them. Right. And it's a confidence that people notice. And I say that one of the most attractive things about a man to a woman or a woman to a man is to let that person feel like, I don't need you for anything. I want you.
Right.
It's a choice.
Exactly.
And when you have that air about you, oh, it's so attractive. Desperation is one of the most unattractive qualities there is.
Don't give away the key.
Okay, all right, I'm finished. I got a little carried away. But I hope I was able to drop some tidbits and give some knowledge, because what I'm gonna do with this segment and what we're talking about, we're gonna do another roundtable.
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna have some men in the room, we're gonna have some women in the room, and we're going to talk about what all of that looks like and what all of that encompasses, and what steps that we can take to get to that point to where we have so much self-love that when people come around us, they want to be in the vicinity of that because they feel it.
That's a great place to be.
Oh, it is a great place to be. Absolute great place to be. But we're gonna end it there, and how we end all shows: love, peace, and soul.